Welcome to Legacy Sips and Tips podcast with your host, Lindsay Wheeler. Today I've got my friend Chance Claxton on to talk about life insurance, life, why it's important, his life story, what we're at, whiskey, wine, whatever we want to talk about. That's today. That's today's episode. It's going to be a hodgepodge of goodness. You're welcome.
Cheers to that.
So thanks, Chance, for being here. I'm excited to talk with you. I've been wanting to do this for a while because you have a really unique, kind of interesting story that I think a lot of people would like to hear. And so let's just start there. So tell me a little bit about your history, where you're from, what do you do?
Great. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So a little bit about myself. I was orphaned as a child. Mother passed away when I was, 8 years old, and my father when I was 16. So then this kind of drove me into the streets for a couple of years, doing all kinds of miscreant activities, of course. And as
a orphaned urchin would be at 16.
Exactly right. So no good decisions were made during that period of time anyway, let alone when you're completely unsupervised. So
yeah.
But this actually led me into a really good part in my life when I had joined the military. So I joined the military when I turned 18, 19. Much different than a lot of other people do when they're deciding to serve their country, for patriotic reasons. I did it because I was hungry, So,
like literally hungry, not like the metaphysical hungry.
No, exactly. So, but it was a really good decision. We moved out of here. We went over to Fort Knox for basic training. And then from there, I lived in Korea for a year. And then from there, I lived in Germany for 3 years. We went to Afghanistan 2010, 2011 for combat deployment. And then from there, I had come back stateside, and I lived in Georgia for 3 years. So I was over out in the East Coast for a while, by Savannah. If you've ever been to Savannah, it's pretty fun.
It's beautiful, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it rains a lot. It's a lot of fun out there. So, and that's where I kind of ended my military career. And then I transitioned over to the veteran lifestyle, and getting out. I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I just used the GI Bill for a while. I was going to college out here. That's when I met my wife. We started dating before we had got married, and then and it takes a while. A lot of people don't realize it, but it takes a long time to kind of figure out what you want to do, where you want to be placed, and things like that, and what you kind of want to do at that, because you spend most of your adult life in the military. And then a lot of people are like, they're career military, so they don't ever have to think about this again, but, and it was something I wasn't really expecting. So I get out, I really have no clue what I want to do. For the longest time, I think I just wanted to get into like security or, something that kind of like matched, so I tried out for the police force and things like that, what kind of matched what I was doing in the military, and of course it never really panned out. I started my own business in 2017.
What kind of business was that?
Get this. So
tell me about this business.
This business. So this business was.
And you're not still doing this business?
No.
Okay, so this is important to talk about, because we like to talk about on this show a lot about entrepreneur and the journey and being successful, and we're amazing. Let's talk about what happens when you do start a business and it doesn't go anywhere, and maybe you got to close it up. So talk about this. Yeah, that's interesting for everybody.
I got you. Talking about
Let me talk about failure.
Let me talk about my failures. I can do that a lot easier than talking about successes.
Orphan is at 16, failed business. Here we go. Yeah.
It's easy for me. So what had happened was, it was right when, and this is totally harebrained scheme, get rich quick scheme type of thing, but I've always wanted to be my own boss, work for myself type of situation anyway.
That's a running theme with this show here.
Yeah.
We all don't like authority, and we want to do our own thing.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it's a harder life, but I'd rather be broke and working for myself than, be working 9 to 5 somewhere. And that's just me personally. Some people are completely the opposite, so, and there's nothing wrong with either or, so, but what had happened was, this is around 2016 or so, when in Nevada, recreational marijuana became legalized. So I was like, oh boy, this is going to be like what was that, like back in the early 1800s or something, the gold rush.
Yeah,
it's the gold rush. So
fun fact, I actually worked on the legislative committee who helped get the legalization of marijuana done here. So For all
Wow.
you guys potheads out there, you're welcome.
Okay, so I have two things for that. One thing is thank you for that, because that's awesome. Number two, also screw you, because that led into much debt
You're
for
a
my
failure.
life. Yeah,
Tell me about the failure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So now I know exactly who to blame for this, and that would be you. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, harebrained scheme, I'm like, oh, great, this is going to be awesome. I can't fail. You know what I mean? Like, this is the perfect time to jump in. So I wanted to actually start a dispensary. So I'd done my research and stuff, and I actually found out that you can't just start a dispensary, because you have to have like this license that says that you can actually open one in the first place. So I was like, all right, well, how do I get one of these licenses? What had actually happened was a couple years before, those licenses had already been issued.
Right.
And there's a limited amount of licenses that are available, So I was like, I hit a wall immediately. But then I was like, all right, well, what's on the other side of the coin of this? Oh, God, paraphernalia. Boom. Let's start selling bongs.
It's a head shop, yeah.
Like, let's just do an online head shop, right? So I jumped head first into that. I opened it. I opened my entity or whatever with the Nevada Secretary of State's website. And I quit my job like the next day. I just boom, let's go.
So that's what we talk about, where we just don't YOLO it up and just dump everything. Unless you're living in your mom's basement, then fine, please do that. But we have to take responsible steps to transition into our new entrepreneurial endeavors. This is a good cautionary tale for everyone.
Thank you very much for telling me that advice. A good 10 years too late, but that's fine.
Information that would have been useful yesterday.
Yeah. But I'm a guy that learns the hard way anyway. So I jumped right in. I left employment, gainful employment. And my fiance at the time, now my wife, she was like, what's going on? Are you sure? And I'm like,
bless this woman.
I am not, but let's do it anyway, So I kind of struggled with that business for a while, and just it didn't go well, 'cause first business, jumped right in, had no idea what I was doing.
You didn't get the right part of licensing yourself, so that was a bonus. A lot of people don't even get there, so got that for you.
It's true, but what they say, the first 1 year of any business, like 99% of them fail or something like that. I was one of them, so I don't feel too bad. I just I joined the crowd. That's all. So I did that for a little while, and then I got into some debts and stuff, naturally so.
Trying to bolster keeping it going. And that's an important thing, that you decided at some point to quit this. And a lot of people have that sunk cost fallacy, that they're like, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep putting into it and keep putting into it and keeping into it. When there is just times where you just have to fail, and you fail fast, and you start something else, and you just have to cut your losses. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you're in that situation and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is not going anywhere, I've tried really hard, I put everything into it, there are certain times and certain types of things that are happening that just may not happen, and that is okay. You look at all these big, like Elon Musk, what did he went through 4 different companies before he hit?
Probably
with
more.
PayPal, I think was his first one, Amazon, same thing, all those guys. So just the first thing that you start doing isn't necessarily going to be your hit. So recognize that and feel confident to just walk away from it, because there's no shame in that. At least you've tried.
Absolutely. No, yeah. I couldn't agree more, but walking away was right. It was right because and despite the fact, but it was worth it. You know what I mean? Because I may have gotten all this debt and I had this failure and stuff, but I always knew, all right now I'm gonna recoup. I'm gonna go, and I got into sales and stuff. So I was doing outside sales for a while. But I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I would not take that back for anything, because it might have been so and so, monetary amount in debt. But the lessons that I learned were, they're insurmountable. You can't put a monetary price on the things that I had learned firsthand.
Yeah,
so
and oftentimes we learn more from our failures than we ever do of our successes. So.
Oh, way more. Success is a lousy teacher. Who said that? Was that? I forget who said that, but
some famous guy.
I think it might have been one of the billionaires. Yeah, some billionaire. I know he said success is a lousy teacher. I think it might have been Bill Gates or something. But
Bill Gates or one of those guys.
One of them. But either way, is absolutely right. So I took the wounds and I moved on. I got into sales for a while, and what had happened was, when I got into sales, is I actually kind of discovered a passion for sales and service, because you're out there and all it is, people are so scared to jump into sales and service and stuff like that. When really all you're doing is talking with people,
Right.
You're talking with people, you're making those connections, and you enrich each other's lives, and if they want something, great. If they don't, that's also fine. That's like, but too many people are scared on both sides. I mean, the buyers are scared to deal with salesmen. Salesmen are scared to actually go out and sell. You know what I mean? So that's why there's so few of us. But the way I see it is just you're making connections with good people.
Right.
So I don't understand it, but either way, I found a passion for that. And another passion I found was in investments. Right. So when I had started with over there at the sales job, is I just started heavily investing and things like that, and of course I got into some not so good investments, but I think everybody does.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
All the cryptos.
Crypto and stuff, amongst other things. Yeah, trying to catch the wave for GameStop and all that kind of cool stuff.
On it.
Yeah, I was on it. Wall Street bets. I'm taking a look. I'm taking a look. That's all. I'm just taking a look.
The meme stocks.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, worked for some, right? So, and there's more failures. We talk about all these other failures. Let's go. All these failed investments and stuff. But, either way, I found a passion for both of those things. And then, so I had a couple of coworkers that told me they wanted to go and switch firms, which I'm not going to say which firm it is because, of course, I don't want anybody to know.
Big corporate America.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So big corporate America, it's Fortune 500, big life insurance firm. So they told me to come along, and I was like, oh, why would I even really care too much about life insurance? And it just never dawned on me, right? So, and they're like, no, you can do investments and stuff right after this, So like you start there and then you get an investment side of things. And I was like, great, let's do it. That sounds like fun. So then again, I jumped right in. I just left my job, and they're like, "Oh, commission only." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
From the BCA,
number
big
2.
corporate America hashtag coining that one. BCA. Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag jump right in is mine.
Yeah,
so.
that is yours for sure.
I did the same exact thing, but of course now I'm armed with all this new knowledge from my last failures and stuff like that. So it's gone a whole lot better.
It's much better now.
Much better now.
Okay, good.
But when you're working in this line of work, wherever you get coaches and stuff that work, I mean, they're a huge company, right? So why would they not have that people?
They're going to try to get you to be successful because they're a BCA and they've been around for probably legacy company and they've been around for at least 100 years or something.
Right.
They have a model of success.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So that level of coaching reached me before.
Which sometimes, like being with the BCA is not a bad thing because they do have this infrastructure, they do have this support system to teach you these things, and it's oftentimes if you're going to want to get into a business or your own business, it always is sometimes good to go work at these places to get this knowledge, to get this education. McDonald's is one of the premier, managerial coaching, or teachers, if you will, institution of how to manage people, how to do it right. They're a BCA, and so it's not necessarily a bad thing to always have to work for the man in that sense, because they have this infrastructure and they have the ability to do and give you that good knowledgeable foundation because they have perfected that recipe, because they wouldn't be here if they didn't.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
I mean, also on the backs of people and working and exploiting, but that's a whole different story. Okay.
They could be a different podcast.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's a different episode, right?
Corporate exploitation. Yeah. We can go there.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me is, with them, I'm also an independent contractor. So I make my own rules. I do, except for, of course, compliance. That's a FINRA thing, so I can't get away from that.
That's a federal thing, and there's reasons for that. We want people to be protected. We don't want, snake oil, shysters out there being like, oh, buy my whatever it is product, my Hedwig, insurance product, or whatever, or investing in Hedwig, we want to make sure that that's protected. So absolutely,
but so on that. I'm dealing with these coaches and things like that, and then they really get you. They hammer in on your why, because you're not going to survive in an environment like that at all, because it's very much like starting your own business. It's just you don't have the liabilities that come along with actually owning, an LLC or a C corp yourself or something like that.
Well, we talk about the why, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more because this is a very important thing, especially in business when you do your year audits or whatever. What is your why?
Exactly.
Why are you doing this? And some people will just say, oh, because I want freedom, or I want to make more money. money. Okay, well, that's a very nebulous goal. Drill that down for me.
Right.
Why do you want more money? Oh, so I can travel more. Or why do you want more money? Oh, so I can spend more time with my kids. Why? Because I want to be able to be there for them when they grow up. Why? Because I want to be at every basketball game that they're going to have. Why? Because I want to know my kids that I support them. Why? Because you want to be there to help raise your children. You know what I mean? So drill it down to where it's super, into that minutia, and that'll help you give you kind of that motivation for daily of why we're doing this. Of course we all want to make more money. Of course we all want time for ourselves. We want to do those things. That's like the kind of hierarchy of needs, you know what I mean? But why? Because you have to find your specific why. My why is different than your why.
Oh, right.
It's going to be different than anybody else's why, because we all have different lives and different experiences and different goals in our life. But it's important to drill down of exactly why the why is there.
Yeah, or like you said, even in your line of work, if your why isn't powerful enough, then you're going to walk away.
Right.
You're going to go back. You're going to go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
You're going to go back over there, and you're going to start, working in management or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I love Starbucks.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But some people are totally fine with it. And I talk to people all the time. I'm, so I'm trying to recruit people, obviously.
Right.
Like, hey, come on, like join our team. And a lot of time they're like, oh, I don't care about making money 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Because that's usually what happens. You make money 10 years from now. You're not making it in the moment most of the time when you're working for yourself. So and a lot of people are like, nah, I think I just it's good for you, like but it's not for me. And that's totally
that
fine.
risk aversion we talk about. It's even when you do investing, we talk about that risk aversion or that risk tolerance, and that's with anything. That's with your job or with that security of, can you have that ability to be okay maybe not making money. Like this month was a really short month for me right now. I didn't make money until literally yesterday. So and that's fine, you know what I mean? And I will ride that wave, but that is a wave that a lot of people are not comfortable riding.
Right. Yeah. No, and it is really uncomfortable when you first get into it. It's super uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very stressful actually.
Where is my next paycheck coming from? I actually have no idea. Like I have to go find it. I have to go find the clients that are gonna
and talk about that a little bit, because you come from a semi-disadvantaged background. Both your parents passed away when you were young. You were underage. What kind of money mindset scarcity issues do you have with that? And the fact that you're able to YOLO it, you know what I mean? Like that's really interesting, because usually it would be the opposite, where you would just be like, I want security.
Right.
Based
off of the past or whatever. Yeah. So yeah. No, actually, I never really think about that all too much. I'm not really a money seeking, entrepreneur, I guess you can call it. I like my freedom more, and I cherish my freedoms more. But you just can't let those freedoms destroy you when you're out and you're working and stuff. Because I've worked with plenty of independent contractors that just couldn't handle themselves if they can build their own calendar. You know what I mean? Like
they don't have enough discipline, at least.
Exactly. And that never bothered me at all. I loved it. I love it. So, like I had said before, even if I'm not making a bunch of money, I still love the work that I do, and I love the fact that I'm in charge of it. I love the fact that if I want to spend an extra hour in the gym in the morning, I can show up to my office at 10 versus showing up there at 8:30 or 9.
And then there's some days where you probably work till 9 p.m., 10 p.m. It all offsets for sure. It's just not that, I don't know, the American puritanical way of, you're lazy if you're not here from 8 to 5. Like there's something wrong with you. Well, there's a lot of people. One of my best friends works, I think she doesn't even get started till 8 p.m., and works till then. I've always been a night person. My parents were night people, that's my natural rhythm is to work. I work the best at 2 a.m, but society dictates I have to be available at my desk at 8, which is very frustrating and annoying. Right. I'm like, why did I have my own business? I should make my own goddamn schedule.
But your clients actually make your schedule.
My clients do. Yeah.
They're the ones that make the schedule.
Except I have trained my clients really well that they know that if there's snow or powder, that they do not call me before 4 p.m. because nothing is going to be addressed until then. Because I am snowboarding. So that is kind of the things you can do. You can train your clients, which is amazing.
Having those boundaries are important.
Boundaries are good.
They are good, but I couldn't agree more. But so that those freedoms might not be as important to others. They might want that security. Me, I want the freedom. I don't want to feel like I am locked in, to a certain schedule or something like that. Like that's just. So, I guess that's where the, risk aversion comes from. My risk aversion was like, I don't want to be at a 9 to 5. That means I have to be somewhere at 9 in the morning.
Right.
What if I don't want to be there at 9 in the morning? You know what I mean? Like,
if I don't want to be here.
As simple as that sounds, that's important to me,
Right.
So that's sort of where that comes from. But, but when you're dealing with when you're dealing with these coaches and stuff who've been in the industries, who've been self-starters for so long, you tend to pick up things, and the why was one of the things that I had really picked up, from this whole endeavor so far, is because, first year, they asked me my why, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't care about the why. Like, I'm literally sitting at home like, this is my why. Like, cause, I'm just chilling right now. I mean, that's not really the case. And then they start to explain a little bit more. They're like, a lot of times the why can come from your subconscious, it comes from your upbringing and things like that, and things that might have affected you in the past and that eventually drew you to this line of work, so what was that, and more and more I think about it, my parents didn't have life insurance. They didn't have an estate plan, like the important work that you do. They didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was basically completely ass out before I was even, old enough to graduate high school. You know? And there was no support structure there. Like we were SOL, and that was it, So I think somewhere in my subconscious where I was like, life insurance, is that really that? Like, what do I care about life insurance? I want to get into the investment side of things because,
that's where the money is.
I've had all this, great, I'm watching Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, this guy's so cool, even though he's a total dick. But don't sue me. Either way, I didn't say any names, but but you know what I mean? Like that's, and so now that I've been around it and I am actually out in the community, I'm helping my clients, their families, their friends, with that peace of mind that I just could never have even dreamt of. Like it's something so simple on my end as issuing a policy to someone and just seeing that they're so thankful that they have the peace of mind, because it is really important, and then I really started to think about it a lot more, and I'm like, you know what, like if only someone who's in my shoes now had spoken to my parents, I would have had a completely different life, you know what I mean? And it's not fair to leave the children in a situation like that, so
and we talk about like insurance too, and it's like bad things happen to good people. Like it's just the way of nature. Like it's whether it's a glitch in the matrix, like they talk about, we had to have bad things because we can't handle it, whatever it is. But bad things happen to good people, and it happens more often than you think of, and you don't want to think about that. And I know it's hard to think about that. But the worst scenario is what happens if you don't have that and the bad thing happens. You love your kids more than anything. You want to provide for your kids. Holy shit, why are you not setting them up? Right. Like, oh my God. Like you get them their immunizations, you take them to the doctor. If they get hurt or they get sick, you make sure that they're okay. You make sure they're educated and they're well fed and they have all their sports and all the fun things they like to do and all the, games and whatever it is. But yet you fail to help them if something bad happens. What?
People are scared.
It's
something like they're scared. Either they're scared of it costing too much, or they're scared that I've heard this a lot too from some people that if I go out and get like an estate plan or something like that,
I'm gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard it. I'm just asking for it.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not. No, that's not how the universe works. Like you're not just going to be targeted. If people were targeted for going to get an estate plan, there would be nobody. There'd be nobody left, right? Like all your clients would be dead already,
If the universe really worked like that, wouldn't all the bad people in prison or done murderers and child rapists and all these things, wouldn't that be the target? Not somebody who's providing and helping their kids?
No, estate planning would be it.
Estate planning is it.
That would be the trigger.
The nail in the coffin's happening. Tomorrow Grim Reaper's knocking on that door because, man, you got that paperwork signed.
I heard you got your estate plan.
Yeah, hey, bro.
I'm here for you.
It is the trigger that alerts the Grim Reaper to come on over.
No, it just doesn't happen. No, it's unrealistic.
Yeah. Depending on what you believe in, so it's like, why wouldn't you do all these things for your kids? And I always say for people, I go, estate planning is one thing because we have, we do have a state system for that. We have the government's plan, essentially, which of course nobody wants the government's plan, but at least we have that. I always tell people, if you have children, you should automatically have life insurance, automatically. And basically because of your story of like, oh my God, like your parents didn't do anything wrong. They did everything right. And they still had an unfortunate circumstance with their children being there left hanging, with holding the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, there's nothing that they could, you can't plan for. I mean, well, I guess you can plan for it, but you can't.
You can plan for it.
You can plan for it, yes.
But you can't plan that you're going to get, you're going to get cancer and you're going to die with, your underage children. Or, I had one client, I think we talked about this, a horrible, horrible, horrible story. She was walking with her 2 young kids to go get hot chocolate during the holidays, and a drunk driver hit them. Yeah, like brutal. Like, we don't ever want to think about it. Like, what a sweet, cool thing to be doing. You're gonna go get hot chocolate with your 18-month-old and your 3-year-old, and some fucking asshole runs you over. Oh my God.
It's horrible.
Like, oh my God. But these bad things unfortunately happen, and we can mitigate that as best as we can because we have these products and services to do just that.
Right.
We can put guardianship nominations so the siblings don't get split up. We can put life insurance in there so the kids don't have to be removed from their home, or they're able to be basically raised how you wanted them to, because now they have the funds to do that. There are mechanisms in place that we can do to make sure that your kids are still provided for you, with you, by you when you're not here. Right. Why would you not want to do that to your kids?
Right,
it's not going to be like, hey, Grim Reaper's going to come knock on the door because I did that. Grim Reaper's probably going to like, oh shit, they got it together. We're going to leave them alone. That's not going to be on the news. That's not newsworthy. Let's go get something else that's horrible newsworthy. That's how the Grim Reaper rolls. And
I think the two, life insurance and estate planning, are just so closely tied together. They're just so important, because, envision this, right? So a family goes out and they get their life insurance plan, but they have all these other assets or stuff. They don't have an estate plan. Okay, well, what happens when, if their parents, the parents of the, a family happen to pass away or something, horrible car accident, or, they're walking down the street or something to get hit by a drunk driver, and if they don't have these protections in place, the life insurance is only going to go so far without the direction, right? Because when that person, and the child turns 18, that life insurance is going to be paid out in full.
Yep.
Can you imagine what $1 million will do to an 18-year-old?
My God,
that money is going to be gone.
How about $1 million at 18? I would have a Porsche. I would have a Lambo. I would have
Italy, you're going next week.
I would have some stupid shit. I would have some stupid shit.
And then
Let's be real.
It's going to be wasted, and then it was for nothing.
Right.
It was for nothing at all. So you need to have that trust in place, so that way you as the, what is it called, like the trustee?
The sexy trustee, yeah.
Right, so as you can dictate exactly where that money is supposed to go.
Right.
I mean, a plan is your life insurance plan is great, but I would say it's half a plan. You
need
the other
half-ass it,
side of that plan. We need to tell you need to not have that kid paid out at 18.
Right.
Maybe it's going to be paid out at 30, or maybe it's going to be paid out slowly. So that way they can help with their living expenses, what it's actually intended for.
And that's what I try to tell people. I don't think people understand that. Yes, if you were to pass away and you have an underage child, you think, oh, my kid's going to get this stuff. Correct, they're going to get it, but they're going to get it all at 18.
How are they going to get it?
How are they going to get it? So, of course, they're going to get it, but it's not going to be the way that you are going to want them to get it. So, with an estate plan, you're exactly that. You can still parent your children when you're not here. I don't know how much cooler that can honestly be. You can say that, they only get a certain percentage at 18 for school, because I don't know any responsible 18-year-old. I don't care how responsible you think you are not responsible at 18. And I had 4 jobs at 18. I think I was pretty adulty, but fuck, I wasn't adulty at all.
Yeah, I was in the military.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was a freaking idiot.
Yeah, we're all pretty idiots. We're all idiots.
Trust me with a gun, but you can't trust me with $1 million in life insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm still an idiot most of the time, But, you can say, at 25, maybe your kid is, not entrepreneurial or not school savvy or whatever, the school system, they don't like it. Maybe you can set them up to have a business or a home or an investment property at 30, whatever. You can work with your financial advisors, with your insurance and everything, to make sure that they all work together, that your kids are now set up when you are not here. So you're still providing for them, you're still loving them, even after you're here for many, 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 many years, What a gift for your kids. What a gift for you. Why are you not doing this? It's a no-brainer. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wish that was done for me,
Absolutely.
And I don't fault them for it, because I just don't think anyone approached them about it, and that's the problem.
And
it's
an education thing that people aren't talking about, that unless you're, in those circles, like we always talk about, the rich affluent people, that is in their circle. This is what they talk about. This is what they're taught. This is what's at the dinner table. The financial advisor, Bob, that they've had for 80, 100 years, is coming to their dinner parties. They've come into their soirees, whatever they're having. These are conversations that are happening, but they're not happening with the rest of us.
Right.
And so I'm a big proponent of that with you guys. And I know that you guys have a lot of regulatory chains over you. And honestly,
yeah.
I think that's a lot of it because who are making those chains? Rich white people, frankly. You know, Chance is a rich white man, by the way. Just kidding.
Well, then people are going to start, hey, I'm going to start receiving threats and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
The system is built literally for him. Just kidding, everyone. You are the patriarchy.
Well, I thought we were talking about how underprivileged I've been. So, the tables have turned.
The tables have turned. The patriarchy table has turned.
But, you know, I think that's just, I mean, you're right, the education part of things.
Yeah.
It's just so important that even, and they tell us now, and I've heard this a lot lately, is that, you know, even if they don't buy anything from you or get a policy or anything like that, you're sharing really useful information out there in the community, and that's going to have an impact. Whether you see it or not, it's going to have an. You know, it doesn't matter to me if somebody comes and talks to me about having a life insurance plan, and then they're like, for whatever reason, they're like, man, fuck that guy. I'm going to go get it from somebody else.
Sure.
Either
Great.
way, I have helped the community by being so annoying that they went and bought it from somebody else. You know what I mean? So either way, as long as that it's being done, you know what I mean? There's way too many people out there that don't have these things. They don't have estate plans. They don't have life insurance plans. Then there are of us going out there and trying to educate and set these plans up in the first place. So, I mean, if somebody wants to go somewhere else, that's totally fine. Go.
I am the same way.
Ahead,
like
you know?
it's that you know, competition kind of mindset, and I just don't have it. I'm like, we're all in the same boat.
Nope,
we're all here to help each other. And you know, I have people where they're like, you know, I'm like, oh, did you get your estate plan done? And they're like, oh, yeah. Like they're all sheepish with me. You know, I'm sorry, I went with somebody else. I go, great. And they're like, what? I go, I'll give two shits that you went to me or not. I am happy that you now have it done. That's all I care about. And if I can, like you said, educate people and have that education out there, especially for our disadvantaged communities, our minority communities, like we're not talking about this enough, and those communities are not being served with this education and knowledge and making sure that is out there. I think the statistic is 88% of the Black community does not have anything in place. That is an insane number.
So, really
it's
high.
an insane number.
Yeah.
Most minority communities are around that. 60 to 80% don't have anything in place. These are people who are working hard, families, business owners, investments, and they don't have anything in place. And they're going to have now we already don't trust the man and the society and these systems. But now we're going to leave our estate plan to the state and the system that we already don't like and distrust. Holy shit, why are we doing this? And that's the education piece that we need to get out there and educate people to know that there are these resources. There are that representation, that I do act like you, I look like you. I'm like a 17-year-old boy in my Vans and my Burton, and you know what I mean? Like, you're relaxed,
punk rock.
you know, we like the goth clubs, we like the punk rocks, you know, like I like to snowboard and do stupid shit. Cool.
In short, we're people too, you know.
Yeah, we're real people. Like, you know, and we all have to kind of feel like we're stuffy. We need to have our little suits on, and we have to have our uniforms, and we have to talk a certain way.
Yeah, not just a suit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it is, you know, because we have to look polished and respectable. Of course, you know, we're in that industry. We can't look like a bunch of hooligans, but also we're selling to you. I'm selling to me. I don't want to have some, again, stuffy white man telling me what to do with my life. Fuck you, man. You don't know anything about me. You know what I mean?
You're forgiven for this time.
You're forgiven. Yeah.
But next time, I'm not going to turn such. I'm not turning a blind eye.
Gonna assert that patriarchy on you.
You gotta every day.
Yeah, every day. I live it every day.
Yeah.
Correct. Every day this is happening. You know, and that's what's important is like bringing this knowledge to these underserved communities. You know, the LGBTQ plus community. Like who's serving them? Nobody's serving them. Like Jesus. You know.
No kidding.
You know, and that's super important. And I like to talk about that because depending on laws and administration, you know, you're with a partner, you're not technically married, but you're not related to them. They can't advocate for you. I don't care if you've been together for 45 years. And that's what's heartbreaking is you have these people in these situations. They've been with their partner for that long, but they're not technically married or they weren't able to be married at certain points. And the love of their life is in a hospital room and they're not able to even be in there to advocate for them. Like, what kind of system are we living? You know what I mean? So that's why these things are important, or having that life insurance or those insurances to set up for your loved ones, whatever your situation is, whatever you have decided to do with yourselves, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you want to provide for your family, your children, whatever it is, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, I think a lot of that, it comes with our own education too. You know, I mean, we as the professionals, just need to, well, I guess in better words, we have to be better. We have to learn more. We have to adapt with the society that is around us in order for us to be able to better approach these other communities that we don't really interact with for whatever reason, you know? So it's up to us really to bring the education to the forefront for our own practices, and then to try and actually reach out into the communities. And I think a lot of people probably aren't doing that.
Right.
Course,
yeah,
so.
They stay in their lane when they should be expanding out. And it's interesting.
Services for everybody, not for just whoever it is that you want.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of why I do my business like I do. I have every tier available to make it accessible. So you can get to it by price point, education point, whatever it is. If you're not able to travel, we can do everything online. You know what I mean? There's people who, think about our disabled community who, COVID was great because everybody was talking online and talking to each other, and then that stopped, and these people I think were really left out, and that's very shameful.
By the way, I would like to, if there's going to be a write-up of this, make an asterisk after the COVID was great comment, and then maybe a little explanation under that, hashtag not the virus itself. But
the things that came from it, like the community aspect and being able to, talk with people, and people who are not, as able to go out to a bar or an event or something like that they were able to even reach out and talk with people and be in these rooms. A lot of the agencies got more electronic, they got more accessible for the normal community, which was wonderful in that regard. And I do appreciate what had happened with that complete and utter failure and shit show of 2020, which we're all still reeling from and all having difficulties with, and have either lost friends or have, dealt with governmental bullshit and all sorts of, we can tinfoil hat conspiracy theory all day like this.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole podcast. But
let's do that on a different.
We're gonna have a conspiracy theory tinfoil hat day, I swear, because it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna talk about all sorts of random shit.
But, if you're gonna do that, you better bring me back, because I will come with like a list of all the things that we could be talking about. Like, all right, so first we'll start with this conspiracy. Back in 1812, and we're just gonna move forward from there. And, it might take us a while to get to 2020, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Talk about CIA and the ghettos. Oh, that one was real. Yeah, that wasn't conspiracy. Yeah,
let's bring it on. Let's
go. So it all ties into that. If yes, correct. COVID was not great. It was great for aspects of bringing people together, bringing that accessibility, awareness. So that was nice thing. We try to find silver lining in horrible situations, because that's the chops we're in.
You can really do.
Yeah,
I think that actually happened with our firm too. Is we got more digital after that.
Which is great.
Because it's great, because and I started probably a little after that. But man, do you think I don't want to go around with papers and having people sign like paper stuff. Let's do it digitally. You can save that digitally. On the no user error of misplacing some documents or whatever. That's just me. I'll do whatever is convenient for the client, of course, naturally. But I just think it's better, more easy for folks, especially because I've got clients in different states. Several different states. What am I going to do? Drive to Kentucky
Wyoming,
or Delaware or something just to have them sign a form when I can just send it over in digitally? But that wasn't available before, so I think that.
And we can talk face to face. They can see you. They can get a feel for you, and it's more personal, and it's that's been really, really good for a lot of people. So it's nice. Or my elderly clients who aren't able to get out of the house, or somebody's in the hospital, or somebody's in a home, or whatever it is. It still gives that connectivity and that personality to it. Personalness. So today I'm drinking kind of a unique thing. It is a brand called Sample, and it's really cool about them is they go around to different regions or wineries, and they put together like a little sample pack, which is really cool. So this one here is the Santa Barbara area, or ABA. And so I have like a Pinot Noir. They take like the highlights of those regions and put them in a little cool vial like here. So I'm drinking this one here. This is a Pinot Noir. They have this one here is just a red blend, if you will. Here is a Riesling, super cool, different wineries highlighting those. And they're just nice little evening sippers, if you will. So you're not having to open a whole bottle, and you're also getting kind of a sample, if you will, good marketing for them, of these different regions. So if you go travel there, you can see what you like, or maybe go check out some of these wineries if you really like their wine, and you can order from them directly. So today is Sample. You could also sponsor me if you like as well. I would love any winery sponsors, and I will rep the shit out of your brand for you. So today. And thank you for that. So thank you to our sponsor, non-sponsor, could be sponsor. Yeah, that's you. So I have this question, and I get this from my clients as well, where I'm like, hey, do you have life insurance? They're like, oh, no, I can't qualify for that. Or, oh, it's so expensive, or that's a scam that doesn't pay out. So tell us a little bit about what life insurance is. How do you qualify for it? I know there's many different product lines to it, but kind of just give us like the kind of, the 300-foot version of what life insurance really is.
Right. So what life insurance really is, and I totally agree. I hear this stuff all the time too, and then it kind of sucks because then it kind of puts me at like a survival mode. Like I'm already off on my heels when somebody comes and approaches me like that, and I don't want to come off as like that desperate guy, like, oh no, you got to come back. Like, don't be scared, but like that's part of like what I do for my work, I have to spread the education, out there. So really what life insurance is, to put it simple, is it's wealth creation, right? So you are creating wealth for your surviving family members in the event of your passing, right?
So generational wealth is a buzzword these days. So you're creating that generational wealth.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So certain people might hate me right away. So, oh, you do what? Okay, generational wealth guy, we hate you, yeah. But really, it's not as hard as it is to get as one might think. But what I always tell my clients is very simple. Like, because a lot of people are like, well, why would I need life insurance when I've got blah, blah, blah in assets that I can pass down, or I've got blah, blah, blah in investments that I can pass down? And my simple reply is, well, everything that you have fought so hard to earn in your entire life, you should be spending that in your golden years yourself. You earn that. That is for you, right? Let us, as the life insurance providers, provide that legacy to your surviving family members, and for a couple $100 a month or something, just depending, instead of you just not what are you gonna do? You're gonna get to retirement, you have all this money, and you're just gonna hold on to it and you're gonna do nothing? No, I'm gonna be traveling.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. Like, I tell my clients that all the time. They're just like, oh, well, I need this for my kids, and I'm like, okay, let's just stop real quick right there. Like, you've worked really hard, and I have this conversation with my dad as well, and my parents, because of course we think, oh, we're gonna get this inheritance. What? I hope my dad lives really, really, really long. I hope my dad lives till I'm like 80. That's, that would be great, right?
Absolutely.
But what am I gonna do? Sitting there biding my time waiting for this fucking payout? No, man. I want to spend time with my dad, and I want him to earn that, and work for that. He's raised me well, thankfully, hopefully. And, I will make my own living. Hopefully, that's why we're here. And, my favorite thing is when my dad's like, hey, you want to squander the inheritance? And I'm like, bro, what are we doing? He's like, let's go watch Messi play in Barcelona. And I was like, sold, friend. Because I want to have that time with my dad doing really cool shit. Like I tell my clients all the time, I go, you're going to still skimp to give this payout to people who should be working for themselves? What, they're like, again, when they're like 70, they're waiting for their payout from you? No, you should be living your life. You worked hard for this. Go enjoy the fruits of your labor in your hard, difficult life. And then that supplementation and that wealth generating building comes from the life insurance supplement that now you have created for your children.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Perfectly said. Like just simple. Keep it that way. Let us pay your kids. You pay yourself. You've saved all this. You've saved all this money, and of course you might not be able to burn through it all, so you're going to get a little extra on top. But your death shouldn't just be somebody else's gain. You know what I mean? Those memories are way more important than having that money in your hand in the first place. Right? Yeah. So, and that's the thing. But as far as getting and attaining life insurance, and I'm not telling people to come talk to me or something. If you know somebody that does life insurance, go speak with them. Go talk to them. A conversation. It always starts with a conversation. Very simple and easy. Or like I try to streamline my process to make it as easy as possible. I want you to feel comfortable talking to me about your death.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not a comfortable conversation. So I think that's what really averts people away from it in the first place, because they have to confront that their mortality. They have to confront their fears for at least 3 or 4 meetings out of 1 month before we actually settle something and they can forget about it again.
Right.
And that's sort of my job is just to bring that to your forefront. Like, okay, what would happen if? And I do this all the time. I'm sitting with a married couple. I'm like, all right, what would happen if you died tomorrow? Where's your plan?
Right.
What would happen in the future? The breadwinner, what happens if the breadwinner goes and you don't have anything in place? kids are going to get upended. They're going to have to sell their home. The wife is going to, or the husband, and that whoever's not working, whoever's not the breadwinner is going to have to step up and maybe get a second job or something like that. So it's extremely uncomfortable, and there's nothing worse than losing a family member. But I would say losing a family member and then getting a check is a whole lot better.
Easier, yeah.
Whole lot easier, and it's not going to take away the pain, but it's going to give you that breather room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we call it the mourning period.
Yeah.
Right. Because some deaths from spouses or something can be, or even children can be extremely debilitating.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
It's so terrible. And what happens if the surviving spouse then becomes so depressed that they can't work,
right?
Or they become so, and it does happen. They get into a mode where they can't pull themselves out of bed, and carry on. If you have that check, it's not going to make that any different, but it is going to at least see you through the darkest periods, right?
Yeah, it gives you that breather room. That's what I talk about estate planning. Is that. Yeah, okay, spoiler alert, we're all going to die.
Right.
It sucks. It's difficult, and I know I'm flippant about it a lot because I deal with it every day, but it is hard. It is difficult. It is a national experience. Of course, it's natural, but it's hard for us. We're emotional creatures. Of course, it's difficult. And exactly like he's talking about with that breathability room with the life insurance, that I don't have to, deal with putting my house up for sale because holy shit, I have half the income now. Or with, and my part of like, holy shit, we got to file something with a court. I'm digging through paperwork. I have to frantically do something because everything's getting locked out. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, don't do that to your loved ones. Give them that breathability to mourn your loss, to take that time, to not have to be frantic and hiring people and having to go to court and having to sell the house. And oh my God, oh my God, that is, unless you've lived through that or experienced that, it is awful. It is horrific. And there are mechanisms and product lines, frankly, that can mitigate that for you and for your loved ones. Right. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right. In estate planning, people just and I'm sure you hear this a lot too. People say, "Oh, life insurance. Oh, I don't need that." I've heard this so many times. I don't need that. I'm young.
Right. We talk about with everything. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'm like, that's when it's the cheapest. That's when it's the easiest to obtain. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, fine. If you don't wait another 10 years, I'm gonna be here. I'll be here for you.
I got you.
But your premiums are gonna be 10 years more expensive than they were 10 years ago. Fine. I tried already when you were younger, but now you're having to deal with this, and I guess I get paid a little bit more, because you didn't want to listen, and it sounds heartless, but when you're out and you're working with people and you keep hearing the same excuses over and over again, eventually you just kind of,
how old was your mother when she passed away?
She was 32 or 33.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So think about you. Yeah, of course.
She's like my age.
That's what people saying, like, oh, I don't need this. I'll do it. I'm too young. Well, your mom, unfortunately, had a bad run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 32 with children and not having anything in place, thinking that she had time. Well, we all think we have time, but
exactly.
Why would you not hedge your bets and have these things taken care of ahead of time? Oh my God.
Well, and as I said before, life insurance, people always just assume that it's going to be super incredibly expensive. It's really not most of the time, right? So you might have a couple of pre-existing conditions that might make it more expensive, or could be even unattainable. But generally speaking,
what would be something that would disqualify you?
For disqualifying, I don't know, diabetics. Diabetics can't really get life insurance, which is unfortunate. So we have to explore different options. Now you're self-funding your own funeral basically, which is terrible. We put it into some investments that can maybe grow or something like that will be able to help your family in the event. But so like diabetics are a big one. Really, really high risk individuals is another one. So it's not really just health reasons, right? So you can be healthy as hell, but you have a horrible driving record, and you're on.
Don't look at me.
Well, anyways, moving right along.
I like to drive quickly, everyone.
Yeah. Or you could be, documented, world-renowned parachute artist. Jump out of planes, and I make shit.
Sponsored by Red Bull. Hashtag, yeah.
Red Bull, and I'm knitting in the middle of the air or some shit. Whatever the hell kind of shit that you're up to.
Extreme stuff they do these days. Yeah.
Extreme sports. Extreme knitting. Yes.
Parachuting knitting. Yeah, that's a new. We're gonna trademark that for Red Bull. Yeah.
Right. So things like that might make it more unattainable, or if it's even really, really risk, like what they're doing, then you could just get declined. Or on the other end, you can just be really, really expensive. So if you get DUIs or things like that, it's not necessarily going to disqualify you, but they do look at your driving record. So they look at your driving record, they look at your health, and a lot of times if they don't see any up the surface red flags, then it's a simple process. Like a quick glance, you're not doing anything high risk, you're good. You don't have any health things or whatever, you're good. But they also check with blood. They'll grab your blood most of the time just to do a check and see if your blood is healthy.
It's pretty invasive, really.
Oh, it's invasive, yeah. But if they're on the hook for $2 million, and you've got, and that you've got like leukemia or something,
you're gonna pass away next year.
Yeah. So and people told me before, like, that's really invasive. I'm like, I know, I apologize, but on the upside is that I'm not going to be taking your blood. So we still have that we have that confidentiality, you know what I mean? So we have that separation, right? So I'm not the medical professional. I'm really the face. So you're really only going to be talking with me, right? So if you're embarrassed about some kind of medical condition, or you're not really sure, or you're just not comfortable sharing that with the professional that you're sitting across, perfect. I don't want to see that either. You know what I mean? I'm not here to see that. Like, I'm here to guide you. I'm here to make this as easy as possible for you, and it's usually, most of the time, we're fine. Everything goes through fine. But when they want to they don't want to share that, but that's fine. If you don't want to share your medicals, or you're scared of sharing your medical information with an agent that you might have a prior relationship with, you have a friend or something like that, or a family member, and they're like, oh, but I don't want them to know that, that I have blah, 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 or something like that. Well, don't fret, because that is totally separate. The underwriting department, I don't even know who they are. You know what I mean?
Right, they don't even talk to you.
And the professionals that actually get your blood, they're medical professionals.
Yeah.
They're not other agents like, hey, come in here and get this guy's blood. Let's go. Yeah. Like no saying no now. Give me that. Roll up your sleeve.
We're in the parking lot.
Yeah, in the parking lot. Like it's not like that. So it's a lot less scary when you actually sit down and you have a conversation with somebody who is a professional in the sphere. And it's not as bad as you think it was going to be, because most people think it's just going to be just a horrible experience. And
So talk about that. So like, life insurance just isn't for people that protect people and stuff. It's also for business owners. So you can have life insurance for your business, which is also super cool, because if I were to pass, I am my business, you know what I mean? So what's going to happen to that? I still have liabilities. I have things that still have to be worked on. I still need to have that coverage. And so if people have maybe a restaurant or things like that have like more inventory or employees or things like that, life insurance isn't just for people. It is also for businesses as well.
Oh, absolutely. And this is funny that you say that, because last week I had a sit down with a business owner, and she was like, my business is my life, and that is it. Like, and she's like, I don't want to leave a legacy behind to my family members. Like, screw them. I want to leave it to my business, because I'm looking at this old policy, and it's to the business, and that's very common, it's like key employee insurance, they call it, so they want to insure the individual, and that's their legacy. The business owner, that is their legacy. That is what they want to leave. That's their stamp to the world. Some people they want to leave their stamp with their kids. Their kids are the stamp of their world. Things like that. But some people, they just nope. It's all business, and that's totally fine. The business itself is their legacy, and protecting that is just as important to them as it is to a parent protecting their children of well, maybe not just as important, but to them it is, what I mean? Like to them personally, it is just as important as, a parent protecting their child from things like that, and you can use it for those purposes. You can, business owners can use cash value life insurance in order to help build their own retirement. So they're doing both at once. They're saving for their own retirement, and they're also protecting their business, at the same time. So that, which in turn protects families, right? So she had 15 employees. That's 15 families that depend on her business, right? And she understands that. So if she happened to pass away early, she has a succession plan in place, right? So she's got someone who's going to take over the business. She's got the insurance that is going to be paid out to the business, so the business can stay afloat while they find a decent replacement for her being gone. You know what I mean? Because that's a huge
And that's a
loss.
great way of saying it. It's not like you're just insuring you or your legacy or whatever it is. She has 15 employees that she has 15 families that she's responsible for.
Absolutely.
Because you have to think about that. You are responsible for your employees, or like your children, you know what I mean? And so we can fire our children, of course, you know, but, you know, like,
on the wrist too,
at least she understands that she is providing for 15 families, and that if she wasn't available, or that business wasn't available, what would those families do? Like, that could be very difficult for them. And so the fact that she has the foresight to want to protect her employees, what an amazing person, you know, like, that's what we should all be doing. We just don't know about this or how this works or the mechanisms of it. But now hopefully we have a little bit more education that those are life insurance just isn't like the old school traditional life insurance. There are things for business succession and planning and all of those kind of aspects of your life. So it's a very important vehicle, if you will, to have in place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, you know, and I always like it when they do these types of plans, because I'm thinking about that too. And I'm like, you know, I kind of want to talk to your employees. You know, let me go talk to them. Just maybe do a seminar or something. Just provide that education. Just because, you know, you're a client of mine, you don't have to pay for my services. You know, you were already doing that with your policy. So let me bring more value into your life and into, you know, your employees' life at the same time. You know, so
that community enrichment, which is important. So you know, you've had kind of an interesting path to get here. You've had obviously some bad adversity, you know, family situations. Obviously you were an orphan at, you know, 16, and, you know, your failed business, which is great. You learn to fail quick, fail fast, and move on. Yeah. And so what does your life look like right now? And if, even more importantly, what would you tell your younger self?
So now we're going to get into the conspiracy side of things. Wait, tell my younger self, well, okay, what about the butterfly effect, huh? Right. If I go back and tell my younger self anything, then I'm going to be a total fuck up. Like, it's going to be even worse now. Like, I just totally time travel is a thing, Lindsay, okay? Right. We can have a total other podcast about that, but, you know, I would just tell him to stay the course. That's what I would say.
Stay the course, man.
Stay the course, because whatever it is, it's going to lead me right here, and this is where I'm supposed to be. You know, if I try to rattle that cage and try to, you know, give myself a leg up, and the universe is going to catch my ass. Like, no, I don't. I'm not messing with that kind of stuff. But I get what you mean. You know, and I would just tell him, like, hey, keep your head up. You know, keep your head up, because eventually things are going to change. You know, naturally, it's not going to be as bad forever. You know what I think? All the bad has already happened, you know, so there's only so much bad that can happen in somebody's life, right? So if it already happens, you know, early on, then I've got it out of the way. Now it's uphill now, right? I'm just going all uphill now. At least that's what I'd like to think, you know, hopefully nothing else bad is coming. But as far as my business, where my business is going, I mean, really, and I had this talk with my coach over at the firm before, and he was at kind of a loss for words. He's like, you're not really driven by money. Right. You know, like, you don't really seem to care about, like, what you're making at all, like, but what does make you tick? And I'm like, well, it's more connections. Like, I want more connections. You know, every time I get a new client, that's a new friend in the book. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got a new friend, I got a new people I can hit up for whatever reasons, and we all connect for different ways, you know, so that community connection is more important to me than anything. You know, I mean, honestly, I really just love being able to go into, I don't know, a bar or something like that, or a restaurant, and I'm like, oh shoot, I know them, you know.
There's
and
Bob.
I'm,
hey Bob.
Hey, what's going on? Like, how you been? You know, I mean, that makes your life feel better, you know. And then it comes through the giving too, the giving portions of things, like, you know, like, a lot of people struggle with this when they're early on in their life insurance, or, you know, if the other life insurance career agents or something like that, is that, you know, when I'm sitting and I'm providing that education to you and your family, I'm setting up these policies and these plans for people and stuff. Now, I hope this doesn't come off as dickheadish, but I'm doing you the favor. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing me a favor by coming to me. I've got my stuff set up. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I can go right now and be retired. I was in the military. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care. You know, so, like, the money part is not a big deal for me at all. It's just the increasing the connections, because the more you give, the more you get out in the community, the more you're getting invites to different things that you would never be invited to before. The more that the community enriches your life as you are enriching the community, So, and that it couldn't be more real. Like I'm sitting in front of you right now. Like I would have never met you before if we weren't doing this. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't in this sphere or this line of work, like I would have never met you.
Yeah.
I would have never met half the people that I hang out with on a daily basis now. If I had stayed the course. So I think just being out there, meeting new people, it just brings so much value to your own life, and so much joy. I enjoy it so much just to meet people and to talk to them and to see, you hear their experiences and things like that. So I think that's more important to me than anything. So as far as where my career is going, I want more of that. I want more of that. I want to be invited to the Alps or something from some friend that I had made that it just happens to have a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you happen to have a lot of money, but we're friends now, right? We're good buds.
How's it going?
Let's go. So, but
like you said, that community thing and that aspect of we're all in the service industry and we are here to serve people and help people. And we, I think a lot of times people think of service or service industries of like, medical professionals or things like that. Right. We all serve in a different way. We're still here to help people and to make sure that people are good. As much as I bitch and I complain that I hate people. So let's be real, people suck. Yeah. But I'm still here to try to help.
Your clients, though.
Yeah, my clients are amazing. I mean, and to be real, I have amazing clients. My people that I work with are phenomenal. They are just amazing people. And that's where you get to the point where generalization, the general population sucks, but individual people are amazing. So you got to find that time to take to get to know those individual people because they're amazing, so,
absolutely. And you couldn't be successful if you really, really, truly felt that way, because you can be callous as an overall, but that's not really what you are deep down. Where's your core, and your core is with, your passion in your work also.
And serving and helping,
you wouldn't be able to survive doing estate planning otherwise,
Sure, exactly, yeah.
So I see you, Lindsay. I see you.
Got you.
I see it. You want to come off as harder than you are, but it's fine. I'll keep you a secret.
Well, as I talk to my friends who are like doctors in the medical field and stuff, and collectively we deal with the populace and we hate people, but I mean, at the fundamental level, of course you're like, oh, doctors make so much money, that's why they do it. No, everybody I know who's a doctor has done it. They could get paid $4. They don't care. Yes, it's nice to get a nice paycheck for doing difficult stuff and you've gone to the schooling and doing all that stuff, but at the core of it, they're there to help people.
It's the work,
and that's what they want to do. And so that's what we're here to do. So it's great.
Rewarding, Yeah. I mean, it's all about, comes to careers, I always tell people, like, find a career that you really like, that you really connect with, because it's only going to make you feel better about your own life, make you feel like you're accomplishing something, make you feel like you're moving forward, make you feel like you're helping people, things like that. So.
And if you hate your job and you hate your career and you hate what you're doing and you're miserable every day,
move on.
Let me know. Like, we can have a discussion. We can find out what your passion is, and so you wake up every day and you're excited to go do the things that you do. Do I like doing paperwork? Fuck no, I don't like doing paperwork. Nobody likes doing that.
No.
Do I like helping people and serving people and talking to people and doing all these things, and I can use my education and my knowledge to help other people and educate people? Absolutely. That's fun for me. That's the cool part. So
fulfilling,
it's different. So if you don't have that fulfilling job and you feel like you're stuck, hit me up, dude. We'll talk about it. I'll be your hype man. We'll get you. You want to sell Funko Pops out of your mom's basement? 100, I got you.
We'll figure out how to do that.
100 got you. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to sell life insurance, let me know.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. I need a whole other career.
I need someone to do my paperwork.
Yeah. We have avenues for everybody. So I thank you so much for being here and taking your time with me and your expertise and sharing your personal story as well, because that's nobody really wants to talk about dead parents.
No. But, hey, well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and thanks for the whiskey.
I know. I got you. That's a sips and tips.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it works. Because life is not fun without it. Yeah. So thank you for being here again, Chance. Yeah, I've had some wine. Thank you for being here, Chance Claxton, with life insurance, and he's with the BAC. He's one of the big ass companies.
Don't tell.
Yeah, we can't talk about it, but he is with the BAC.
They'll find out.
Not all BACs are bad, even though I bitch about them. So thank you so much for being here, telling you your story and your expertise, and that's all we have for today. And so, of course, when you think of death, think of me. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you found value, please like, subscribe, and share. And be sure to follow me on all the socials at Sips and Tips with Lindsay. And of course, you can always go to my website, sipsandtipswithlindsay.com, to find more information about estate planning, business, snowboard, travel, and of course, wine. you.